Hey everybody, Tim back here again, and today we are going to do another tips and insights video. This is video number 3, and today I'm just going to review an article I wrote on some sight reading tips. Now, sight reading is very important. It's an often overlooked aspect of playing music. And so really, what is sight reading? Well, simply put, sight reading is reading a piece of music for the first time. And it's very important to practice sight reading for a number of things. One thing I want to give an example. Reading music is like really reading any other language. The more you do it, obviously, the better you get at it. But when you're learning a new language, you don't want to read from the same book all the time. Like, you don't want to read out of the same passage. Because, yeah, you're going to get really good at reading that passage, but you're not going to be as good at reading new stuff. So when you're learning a new language, you want to learn new stuff all the time, so you get more accustomed to some of the nuances and some of the different types of examples of the language, and that will kind of broaden your horizons as far as what you'll be able to do when learning music. So practicing sight reading on a regular basis is very, very important, and I'll talk about some of the tips I have for you in this video. So obviously, let me take a look to make sure I didn't say all this stuff already. So once you have experience sight reading, you'll be able to pick up new music, new songs and new music a lot faster. If you don't practice sight reading, everything will be done in a certain way. Like you'll work on the same song for a whole month or 3 months or however long, a really complicated song. You'll be really good at that song, but you won't be as good at learning new songs. So once that song's done, you're going to have to kind of start all over. Yeah, you'll have learned some things from that song you spent so much time on. But if you spend time learning a bunch of different things over that time period, you'll actually be surprised that you'll be able to learn things a lot faster if you do spend some time on your sight reading. So here are some key points of sight reading. Here we get into the actual tips part. So remember that sight reading is all about reading new material. You don't want to read the same old material all the time. The level of sight reading material should be slightly below the current level that you are at. So it shouldn't be way harder than you're used to, because then you won't be able to sight read it. And then maybe you'll lose confidence because you weren't able to do it. You don't want to do it exactly at the level you are at, because it will still be a little difficult to sight read, because sight reading is more difficult than playing a song you've known for a long time. So you want to do it like you want to sight read something at the level you were like a few months ago, or maybe a year ago, or it depends on how long you've been going. But it needs to be kind of easier material, yeah. But it can be too easy. Like if you sight read it with no problem, you have all the dynamics in and everything else, and it was way too easy, then you want to do something a little harder, because you're not getting a whole lot of out of doing like something too easy. So you want to challenge yourself just a little bit, but not too much, because then it will become impossible to sight read. So if you can, you want to find a book with many short examples. This is really helpful with sight reading. Sight reading, yeah, you can sight read a whole Beethoven sonata if you want, if you're at that level. Obviously, some of us are not. But we really should look for short examples. And you want to look for those examples in many different keys. One good book to have, whether you're religious or not, is a church hymnal, because they have a lot of different types of songs in different keys, and they're very short. They're only like a page or two. Should take 5 to 10 minutes to sight read, or even less. So you want shorter examples, and that's really to just kind of focus in on a certain thing. So if you sight read a large thing in the key of B flat, yeah, you're going to be better at the key of B flat, but you want to spend your time, like you probably want to sight read a few examples a day in different key signatures, and that'll give you more flexibility brain-wise, just being able to pick out different types of keys and play them back to back. Like say you play something in the key of B, and then you play something right into the key of G, and then right into the key of A flat or something. That will give you more experience switching between keys, rather than just playing one super long example in a single key, which would still be helpful, but you want diversity, I think, is one of my key points. looking through the list here, when you sight read, you want to play very slowly. This is the same as when you're learning a new song as well. You want to play slowly, and you want to play accurately. You want to make sure you're hitting the right notes. You want to make sure you're holding them for the right amount of time. And the slower you go, the more time your brain has to process the information, which is good. That will make you more successful at playing the example you're looking at. Now, you want to sight read each example maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times at the most. After a while, you have to keep in mind the more times you play it, the less sight reading it is, because you're actually not reading from sight anymore. You're kind of practicing it then. Now, you probably want to play a sight reading example more than once because you want to go through and correct your mistakes, because certain passages will appear again in other songs. Like, you may struggle with like a dotted 8th note rhythm or something in one song, so you want to go back and correct that, because you'll see that same rhythmic pattern and maybe even the same melodic pattern, the same melody in another song. So you want to go back and fix those, but you don't want to spend a tremendous amount of time on each example, because like I said, then it's not sight reading anymore. And like I was talking about playing slowly, the goal is accuracy and not speed. You can play something really fast, but if it's lousy and there's missed notes and stuff, it's not doing you a whole lot of good. You want to practice slowly. If you find the material pretty easy to read, then try going a little faster and adding a little challenge to it. But you always want to start out slow. Slow is actually a very good thing. It will actually help you learn faster. I mentioned this in my practice tips video. I think the last insights and tips video I did, about how in the long run, slower practice will actually get you further. Now, obviously, once you learn something for a while, you want to speed it up, because you want to play it at the appropriate speed and tempo. Let me see. Some of these videos are interesting because I have a list here, but sometimes I kind of go on by memory, because obviously I wrote this thing, but I'm just going through to make sure I did not forget anything. Oh, you want to sight read consistently over long periods of time. This is similar to the practice thing I was talking about when I was talking about that you want to practice consistently over a long period of time. It's better to practice a little bit every day than it is for 4 hours a month, or 4 hours a month, 4 hours in a day, and then the rest of the month not practicing at all. So a little bit every day goes a long way, as I say. Hey, that rhymes. Anyways, you want to you want to focus on notes first, and then you want to focus on if you feel confident with the notes, you want to focus on the dynamics. Now, what do I mean by dynamics? Well, I mean fortes, mezzo fortes, crescendos, decrescendos, or diminuendos, whatever you like to call them, and things like that. You also want to focus on, if you feel like you've nailed that down, you want to focus on articulations, which is like the accents, the staccatos, slurs, things like that. So notes first, and then dynamics, and then articulations if you feel confident reading. And then actually, once you get good at sight reading, you should go back to some of your old examples that you weren't able to add in the articulations and dynamics, and you want to add those in and just see how well you do. You want to sight read music from different time periods. You want to try stuff like by Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, and other famous composers. This will give you, once again, more diversity in what you're playing. Those composers obviously have a vastly different style between each other, so it's very good to practice each of those just to get used to different styles of sight reading. Obviously, though, some of the composers I mentioned, a lot of their pieces are a little bit complicated, especially if you're first starting to sight read. So that's really something after you've had some experience sight reading already. I would start out with the church hymnal, or like a lesson book that you've never seen before. That's actually a level lower than the one you're doing. That will help you as well. You want to be as accurate. Excuse me. You want to be as accurate as you can with the tempo. If the passage has a different rhythm, try playing straight through the rhythm as you can. Not a different rhythm, a difficult. If it has a difficult rhythm in your sight reading, you don't want to get too hung up on that rhythm. You want to do the best you can and then move on. And then once you're done playing through the whole example, then go back right to that measure and figure it out to just make sure you've corrected that mistake. So if it comes up again, your brain will at least have some kind of idea on what to do with it. So, to sum it all up, while sight reading may not seem instantly gratifying, because usually it's not, it is essential in refining your practice and learning process. So this is very much in line with what I was talking about last time about refining your practice methodology. You want to refine your sight reading as well, because this will help you learn new material faster. Like I said, not the most exciting thing to practice, but very necessary. And you'd be really surprised that after a few months of sight reading, maybe 2 months, you'll see a pretty good change, a positive change in the way you learn new music. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to learn everything right away, but it will certainly help you out. So, going down here, that's all I had to talk about. So, we talked about why sight reading is important, the methodology behind it, and forming good habits. I was going to say it's all about that, but it's really not. But forming good habits is really the centerpiece in being a professional musician, or even just getting better at music. If you're just kind of a hobbyist musician, or somebody who likes to play in their basement, or upstairs or whatever on their keyboard, this will help you too. So don't just assume, oh well, I'm not shooting for being an expert, so I shouldn't do it. Wrong. You want to practice. You want to practice regularly everything, like your scales and things and your songs. But you also want to practice sight reading. I guarantee it will help you out. So that concludes the video. Like the video if you found it helpful. If you didn't find it helpful but you still liked it anyway, click that like button anyway. It really does help more people see my videos, which is really what it's all about. Well, it's not what it's all... Well, yeah, actually it kind of is, because the more people that see my videos, the more people will learn. It's really about people learning from my videos. And anyway, if you're looking for more practice and more tips and more everything, go to my website, lessonsontheweb.com, where I offer premium online lessons and classes. I'm pretty certain that you'll be able to get a lot more out of those than you do just the YouTube video. I know some of you are getting a lot out of the YouTube video, and I'm very impressed and glad to hear that. But if you want to take things to the next level, it's kind of a cheesy thing to say, but if you're looking for more stuff to practice, more to do, more reinforcement of the things I'm talking about, sign up for one of my classes. And you can take a look at the free trial on my website. If you're kind of curious as to what kind of goes into a class, they kind of give you a kind of an idea. They're not exactly the same. They give you an idea on what kind of content you can expect. So anyway, thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you for the next lesson. Thank you very much.